Well, hello there. So I've been wanting to find a way to move my log splitter around my property using my tractor. And with the backhoe, I can't just use a drawbar or a hitch or anything on the back. So I was thinking about cost-effective ways to mount something to the bucket. The problem is the top of my bucket doesn't have a whole lot of material to work with, so I've got to try to make something up. Now, they do make a bolt-on option, but it's quite pricey, nearly $300 last I looked. I was able to find something locally. It's a receiver hitch that bolts onto a pickup truck step bumper, and for $20 and a little ingenuity, I think I can make it work. Although I got to get that out of there. At least it's thawing. Should be all charged up. So here's the hitch that I've got. It's a Reese, and it was on clearance for $20. Comes with the hardware. I could have gotten a piece of this 2-inch square tube with the bolt hole in it, or the pin hole in it, for about 15 bucks, and then I found this for 20. So this has a piece of steel on it, and the theory is that I can mount it up here somehow. It's got the holes, so I'm thinking I'm going to bolt it here, but I also have to reinforce this somehow. So I've kind of got it mocked up here. I do have some welding to do because the front of the top edge of the bucket, there's not much meat there, and I want it to be strong enough for it not to bend, right? So I got these scrap pieces of steel that I had kicking around. This is going to go kind of like that. I'm just going to put a couple of bolts in it. I got to drill through the bucket for that, and then essentially the whole thing will be bolt on. The only welding I'm really going to do is I'm going to weld this piece of steel to this piece of steel using these supports. As I've got one for that side and one for this side, and it should work out pretty good. I think I'm just going to use 2 bolts, one here, one here. I just wanted to mock it up so when I decided on where I was going to put my bolt holes, that I was sure they weren't going to be in the way of these pieces of steel, because I can kind of put these anywhere, but I want to keep them probably to the outer edge a little bit, keep them out of the way of the bolts, and I think I've got plenty of room, so yeah, it should be good to go. I don't know what kind of steel this is on the bucket, but it's much harder than this stuff. Drilling it anyway. So it's all mocked up and it's bolted on. I've got this plate bolted to the receiver, this plate bolted to the bucket, And then these brackets that I made out of some simple angle. Actually, this is the leftover angle iron that I used to put the lip on the tray on my log splitter. So I didn't have to buy any of this stuff except for the receiver, which was $20. So the nice thing about this too is that I can just unbolt it all and take the whole thing right off. It's not actually welded to the bucket. Yikes, that's an ugly one. So my welding is embarrassing, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. I'm not a great welder, but those welds will hold, and that's what's important. But I will be able to clean this up a little bit and hide some of the ugliness with some paint. I got me some Ace Hardware Machine and Implement Orange. And I've got a bean as well, but he's not helpful at all. So here's the piece that I made, all painted up and welded. And here's the piece I bought. I may want to paint this eventually, but so here's the top lip of the bucket. It's not very wide. I've got two bolts or two holes here, and I did put some paint on this so I could protect the I don't want any raw metal. I've got these two holes, which that back plate will go on. So it's totally bolt on. So the receiver bolts onto the bucket with the two front bolts and onto the bracket that I fabricated with the two back bolts. And then these two bolts bolt the bracket to the bucket. It's pretty rock solid. I don't think I'll have any trouble hauling my log splitter around my property. This is going to come in handy. It doesn't get in the way of anything. I was real careful about with the handles for my quick release. And with the curl, it doesn't, it doesn't hit anything. I think it'll be strong enough just to move my log splitter around. Should work out pretty good. So this is a 5¼ inch drop, and it's not enough to get underneath this log splitter. The leg on this log splitter isn't adjustable, so it is what it is, but I can just simply lift it up and put it on. So I ended up drilling 4 holes in the bucket, 2 on top on this lip, and then 2 down here for the bottom portion of this bracket. And the receiver is actually bolted on to 2 bolts in the bucket and 2 bolts on the bracket. And then the bottom portion of the bracket is bolted onto the bucket. So it's pretty solid. I think I'll be all right, although my welds are pretty crappy, but they'll probably hold. I'll know for sure this summer. I'll start dragging this thing down into the woods. That'll be the real test. The other thing I don't like is this receiver is black, and I may want to paint that orange to match the rest, but that'll be a project for another day. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.